Sorry, I am my hair. I am every last curly, straight, red, black, brown strand of it, and I would not trade it for anything. I love it short, I love it long, and I love it natural. My mini fro picked to perfection on my ode to Angela Davis. Big, brash, black, and proud. I can pull it back an explosion out the back of my head. A gel and spray, perfect curl set precisely amidst a crazy afro. I owe a lot to my hair. I've learned patience and time management. When I was younger, I sat beneath my mother's comb, bawling my eyes out, or in front of my sister for hours as she braided each individual strand, or that one time for 15 hours to add fake hair. Don't get me wrong, it looks good on some, but honey, it just wasn't for me. And just as soon as I could, I let my hair go free. Free as it should be. Which is hard for some to understand because according to them, my hair is unbrushable, untamable, undoable, and unbeautiful, but clearly none of that is true. The taunting questions of ignorance reflecting their attempts to understand my hair have conditioned me to love it for what it means to me. Because there will always be those who choose to never understand, and that is the problem with society, to think I once let them decide upon my beauty. But now that I'm no longer a 10-year-old with an unbelievable mane, I allow my hair to grow, and with it, I grow. Every day I have to look in the mirror a little bit longer and smile. It's no longer a time to scrutinize my imperfections, but rather a time to celebrate my beautiful creation. I no longer wish for Goldie's locks. Yeah. See, I would not look good with straight hair. I would look so average. I would look like I was trying to look like everyone else. Some women can pull it off and ooh, do they succeed, but me? I do not understand straight hair because I've never had no one in straight hair, so you can leave mine be. Don't get me wrong, it's fun to try, funny to see how I could be so different. But I'm not that person. I am me. I'm just picking out with the same pink pick I've had since I was 3, and all I have to do is add my big gold hoop earrings because my earrings do not accentuate my straight hair. They accentuate a fro, this fro, my fro, so please don't ask me if I've had it straightened when I'll get it straightened or if you can straighten it for me, and don't tell me I would look so cute because I'm not cute, I am beautiful. I am strong, black, and beautiful. Yes. And I have the afro to prove it. Hello, hello. I am so happy to be here. So glad to come down and chill in Olympia. So I have to tell you that Brian and I did some major bonding in December over some serious games of Mancala. And the reason why it was so important was because of 2 things. One, Brian and I play by the same rules, which people have some crazy Mancala rules, but he knows the right ones. And also, he appreciates the fact that you're supposed to pay attention when you're playing, right? Like, it's not a small talk game. You just play the game. So, so I was like super stoked when he asked me to come hang out with y'all and just really enjoy spending time with Brian, so I'm very happy to be here. So, like she said, I'm from Michigan originally. And
Michigan go blue.
That is one of the most important women in my life right there filming. So, and so the thing about Michiganders is we like to use our hands as maps. We're called the Mitten State for a reason. So I am going to show you how it works, okay? The Mackinac Bridge is 5 miles long and the 5th longest suspension bridge in the world. It connects the upper and lower peninsulas of Michigan. If you ask me where I'm from, I'll ask if you know there are 2 peninsulas. If you ask me where I'm from, I'll breeze past the small town in which I grew up and tell you about college because that's the only part of Michigan I'll claim. 2 weeks before my 8th birthday, my parents chose to move us across the country to a small town known for fudge and cherries. So we called the tourists fudgies, disdain slipping from our teeth as we smiled and served their disbelief that anyone could live here during the winter months. They didn't know the roads were plowed by my high school softball coach whose Detroit white flight taught him to love my sister and distrust me. A peninsula is a landform surrounded by water on 3 sides, but still connected to a larger landmass. When my siblings left, there was no truer definition of an island. I do not blame or envy them. They watched friends become enemies, believing in white skin as safe space, calling black people monkeys, and not knowing what to do when they found themselves around me. See, my family is complicated. We all got the same blood of our mother, raised by the same father. It's just that my paternal biology is a different color than every other person in this town. You ever been so fed up with telling the same story, providing explanation of family. It's why somewhere around age 10, I stopped holding my sister's hands and spent 7th grade feeling too weak to sink my own ship. I had this body shape no one understood and hair with no one to teach me to manage. So when I imagined myself as an adult, I always looked like Barbie. White, blonde, and skinny. In the Great Lakes, there is no riptide or undertow. We have currents, which we learn to avoid, but they still kill the most seasoned swimmers pulled out into open water. 6th grade swimming lessons were designed around survival, taught me the brutality of locker rooms, my few ropes burned by socialized warships, wading into classrooms while everyone else floated by on homogeny. There were no prom dates, no first kisses. Just wish someone would have told me it was only my skin color that made me too different to salvage. My sister said Michigan has been good to our family. I suppose trial by exile forged this steel exterior. When I finally left, my parents packed up and moved farther north. My mother declared it the best move they ever made. They laughed about how I will never live there, but never asked me to explain why I'm still searching for whole land. With no more bridges standing between me and everything I ever wanted to love. So basically write about my childhood and social justice. What do you guys do? Social justice, social justice now? This one's got childhood and social justice. We'll marry them together for the transition. They've written us into concrete. Nothing ever changes. They are quick to forget, like how I saw a bumper sticker saying that the U.S. troops were the real freedom fighters. See, the definition of a freedom fighter is one who partakes in a violent struggle. So while I honor those in the military, they aren't the only ones fighting for their country. I can't seem to forget about black and brown bodies hanging from trees, laying in streets, but still the oppressed soldier on. But the same history is regurgitated and regulated. They try their best to bury our voices in false versions of history, so we must break ourselves from concrete and rebuild as monuments. No more handouts marked as justice. Their words misrepresent, but like those who came before who taught us more than we have learned, we must redefine our stories. It is time that we are heard. Growing up, that girl would ask me why my lips weren't bigger, why I didn't speak in phonics, didn't listen to rap music, didn't play basketball. Never had a single teacher interject or correct her, so all I learned was how to be qualifications and stereotypes and to dare to say the words, I am not black, spilling from my mouth easily. I was convinced for a long time that I'd been nothing but a mistake, thinking maybe I should have folded, it would have been easier. But I was never afforded that opportunity. I was elected to fight by the color of my skin. So when they wore a black face mask in a high school performance, I decided everyone was gonna know why. Big red lips and bug-like eyes matched with burnt cork-colored skin. Needed to remain a thing of the past. I was hoping to force a revolution. If nothing else, I would settle for a redefinition of history to at least include reality. We must break ourselves from concrete and rebuild as monuments. No more handouts marked as justice. Their words misrepresent, but like those who came before who taught us more than we have learned, we must redefine our stories. It is time that we are heard. Some think I talk about race too much. I hope I talk about being a woman too much. Then no one will be able to forget that I'm both black and a woman, and the two are historically and passionately intertwined. I learned how to push and when not to, only to find myself in constant battle, but unabashedly unafraid. When I discovered my own worth could only be measured by the advancement of the next generation, I tried less to say the right thing and much more to do it. I work in opposition to the way mainstream culture is dominating the way our kids are educated. History should feel like home. We should each be able to find ourselves within it. It's not textbooks or TV specials, nor a day, a week, or a month of the year, and it is most certainly not forgotten. Because if you trace on down history, you are going to find me. From colonization to slavery, Jim Crow to lynching, affirmative action, discrimination, truth and reconciliation, our right to cultural reclamation, we must break ourselves from concrete and rebuild as monuments. No one handouts marked as justice, their words misrepresent. But like those who came before who taught us more than we have learned, we must redefine our stories. It is time that we are heard. They have written us into concrete. We have always been the type to break out. So this has actually been a really big week for me. I took a very long break from slam, and there have been, so the slam community, Seattle Olympia slam community is just like one of the most loving groups of people that I have ever experienced. And I left slam for a long time, and they were like, hey, psst, when are you coming back? And finally did, and I've been back at it for about a year, and then last night I won the Women of the World Poetry Slam finals competition, so I'm going to Brooklyn in March. Still sinking in. But the biggest thing for me was that I had gone through a lot in my life, and I made a conscious decision to reclaim slam as like this piece. I was like, okay, like this went wrong, and this happened, but slam, like, we don't hang out again. And so it's just like one of those really affirming moments where you make the decision, you're like, you know what, I want that back, I'm taking that, and then things just kind of unfold from there. So I'm just like, cloud nine, super pumped, so excited. I was like, I want to slam, and then I got a feature, and then like, yeah! So that's pretty much where I'm at right now. So let's see here. So I'm going to do a piece that is very old, but I've recently resurrected it. And so I've been working in youth development for a while now. I know I look young. I am young, but still a decent amount of time. And when I started working with kids whose families were part of homeless family services. And the thing about that experience is like that time where you have to like be faced with reality of like what the social system is and what kids are experiencing and what they're living in, and like how these systems are built to break the poor and built to break people of color. And so my professor at the time like described it as me getting my cherry popped, like when you kind of like come to that realization of like what's going on in the world, like the first time you cry over a kid who's like, you know, just like, it's just not fair. And they're like, so this piece is basically about those kids that I started working with all those years ago. And also, by the way, working with kids is awesome because they're just so cool, and they're so much fun, and they're so resilient. Like there's literally nothing better than having a kid who just got kicked out of class for kind of being a jerk, but they're having a really bad day, and like getting them to smile is one of the best accomplishments you can have. And then actually getting them to go back to class and like have a dialogue with their teacher. Like there's so many awesome things you can do. But I've talked too much, so we're just gonna do this poem now. Okay. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch a nigger by the toe. If he hollers, let him go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. My mother never told me that's the way the real story goes. She didn't want me to know the reality is racism, and we're not even safe in nursery rhymes. If one more changes, where's the meaning go? If the rhetoric is the same, if we're still no better than animals, and I wonder with nieces and nephews all making their way, what am I gonna do when those are the words they say? I used to think language was a part of power. Now I know it is the epitome. I used to think all words were good, but then I heard an 8-year-old say that he knew he was nothing, and if a 10-year-old boy tells a girl that she is going to suck him, my guess is nursery rhymes have changed. Ask yourself who changed them. I'm not going to settle because it's no longer a pickaninny or sambo. We changed them all to whore, bitch, and bimbo. I cringe at the words that we put in their heads because we said them first while they were asleep in their beds. Don't tell me not to worry about the next generation when I can't walk down the street without being harassed by men, couldn't sit in a classroom without hearing the words affirmative action, and every night pray to God that my baby cousin grows up to be a good, strong black man. Not a single black male role model in his life. I want my nieces to be strong with black women too. Don't want them to feel like they ever have to choose between white daddy and black mommy, Oreo or pickaninny. I want them to be defined by the words that they need, not the words others find fitting because they cannot see what they will be. And I need for us to recognize the words we use to see that there is power in what we do. I ask God to tell me what to do next. If I'm truly living up to me, if there is more to my best, I just want new words for us. I live for more now than nursery rhymes. I live for a chance to make a change in these times. I want the children I see every day to have a chance to be heard when they say, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I need good words so I can go to Harvard, Yale, and a Broadway show. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. My mother told me to make this world the very best one, and this is not it. I said this is not it. So this is going to change. All right, so I have 2 poems left for y'all. So we're gonna do another like social justice, and then we're gonna do a funny social justice. Y'all on board with that? Okay. This isn't where we're supposed to be. Free. Walking streets with swagger, never granted permission, so we trespass, repeating mantras because we know we don't belong here, carving out spaces with vocals, with books, with bodies. We're not all white chalk outlines, even if that's when you remember us some days, every day. We just want to walk among you. Find our extraordinary tucked in corners, slowly begged out, not yanked by its curls from open wounds, and dubbed our only form of survival. Dance, faster sing, louder think, harder wisdom. Slips through generational teeth, clenched under cut tongues while you wait for our men to come after you've slung them up into trees. We have been cutting ourselves loose. Haven't been waiting for salvation or salutation shouted from white saviors clamoring down the mountains their parents taught them to guard. These streets are paved enough for me. I know how to watch my feet. See, we've all been told we're just a little too much of something, so some of us slip it into our souls. Some of us burn the slow death of living by someone else's survival techniques. We carry it, this fire. Watch us flourish. Brandish brownness and blackness like someone died and made us boss of this mess. We will make it holy. Strip the sin from the words you taught us, design the boxes you wanted us buried in, claim these pieces you never wanted to be whole, building a mosaic and calling it home. You will not take what we call home. Y'all have been so awesome. Thank you so much. It's been great to be here. Let's close it out. You said to my back as I walked away from you, now she is not a gentle lady. And I paused, wondering what that was supposed to mean, what absolute qualification I couldn't conform to in your insignificant moment in my world, but I'll humor you. Let's see if we can define this. By gentle, did you mean soft? Easily broken or tempted by your drunken smile? I certainly wasn't wooed by the way you ignored the girl behind you, trying to push past you to get out the door. I know, you were too preoccupied. But honey, a woman can tell what kind of man you are by the way you treat the women around you, and any real woman would have seen your obsession with talking and flirting to the point of ignoring another female. That's how much you must really want me, but rather a sign that you are an asshole. It's simple, really, this word gentle. Maybe because you were standing in my way, I was supposed to stand and wait. Never in my life have I waited for a man who stood with his back to me. So yes, I pushed you. It wasn't a shove, although I am 6 feet tall and therefore taller than you, and I'm a big woman and I'm too afraid to assert myself physically. I'm sure I scared you. But if my submission is some qualification of gentle, then I don't want to be it. And then lady. Are you for real? Because if you are, then no, I do not consider myself a lady. I hate crossing my legs, especially when I wear pants. I swear, I spit, I cook, I clean. My nails aren't long because where I'm from, nails that look good, that meant that you didn't work. And I was too busy digging in the dirt to think that it's wrong to play outside. So I'm ladylike. No, I am not a lady. Because I was the tallest girl and I was the only black. So when the boys came around, I fought back, never really afraid to throw a punch or stand up from a tackle, acting like it didn't hurt much, unladylike. In the sense that I don't mince words, don't censor, you don't matter, plain and simple, and if holding my tongue is some sort of marker of my ability to conform and make you feel more comfortable in being a gentleman, then no, I'm not a lady. Nor this idealized perception of gentle lady behavior. I feel sorry for that girl. Because if that was supposed to be a compliment, what are the gender norms that we expected to conform to all for you when it's already infinitely clear you are nothing but a waste of my good time? Yes, I pushed you. In that brief time when you stood in my way, and I was never the type to stand and wait, so when I was done with you being rude, I asserted myself like we real women do, and you said, now she is not a gentle lady. I turned to you and said, damn straight.
Yeah.